When my grandfather passed away 1.5 years ago, he left behind this beautiful Yamaha EM1400 power amplifier and mixer. Well, I can only guess that it has been sitting for about 15 years in his basement. So the question is, does it work? That's what I'm going to find out. I thankfully also have the fitting speakers made by Hux and Kettner. However, these aren't exactly the plugs I'm familiar with. Upon closer inspection, I realized that the mixer features two speaker out terminals with the same standard 6.3mm terminals. So I'm guessing you just connect the speakers and the mixer with standard 6.3mm cables. Well, that's easy. Also on the back is this sticker featuring the serial number, and it tells us that it has been manufactured by the Yamaha Corporation and it appears to be outputting or consuming 330 watts. It has these 4 inputs, all 4 featuring the, well, 2 usual different terminal types, although channel 4 misses the upper terminal. That is a little unfortunate, but you can probably repair that. It also has auxiliary in and much more stuff going on. Now, as input, I decided to use my good old Yamaha PSR 4500. Let's just take a look at it. We got 4 channels with a bunch of different controls right here. We obviously have highs, mids, low. We got the gain. I don't know what pad means, the button up here. I don't know if this means on or off, maybe if the... because I cannot see a like muted function. And then you got the 2 auxiliary. I have no idea what that means. I guess you can connect something to the auxiliary input and maybe get it in frame with just 1 channel this way. And obviously this is the volume for every single channel. And yeah, this is just the 2 auxiliaries, 1 and 2, for everything. We got the master volume right here. We have those 2 send. I guess this is when you connect it to another power amplifier. You can use those 2 to adjust, well, how loud the volume is. I don't know. We got the little equalizer right here, which is pretty cute. We got the pretty VU meter right here and the equalizer on off right here. That's really everything. The on-off switch is conveniently placed on the back right here. Let's just try it out, I guess. It awakens. Yeah, let's maybe run there is a little demo on here, wait. Yep. As you just heard, it appears to be working perfectly fine. We can try out the equalizer. I unfortunately cannot really demonstrate that, but the equalizer also appears to be working, or at least doing something. So let's maybe just try out the other channels, because I also tried turning every single potentiometer and I couldn't hear any contact issues. It just works. Alright, so let's give channels 2 and 3 a try as well. Right, so channel 2 seems to work fine. Let's give channel 3 a try then. So all the channels do work apparently. I want to mess around with all the other functions. I found this adapter right here, which simply turns the smaller 3.5mm to that 6.3mm headphone jack. And if you remember from earlier, there were these different auxiliary inputs, and I want to mess around with those a bit. Alright, so I hooked up the auxiliary, and I just opened some music up on my smartphone right here. When I hit play right here, and the volume is pretty way up here, I apparently used auxiliary RTN2. Well, we found a potentiometer that is causing some troubles. I have to clean this up. Let's try the other auxiliary input and see if this works any better. Yeah, so at least this input works perfectly fine. Alright, so let me get some contact cleaner into that. Shit. Well, there is no way I'm going to get any contact cleaner in there. But at least I now have a reason to take it apart, I guess. So, there are a whole lot of screws down here. I think I'm just going to start by removing at least the ones right here. Okay. Careful. So there are some cables right here. I can't exactly tell what that is. They're connected with these hinge plugs. So, and we got in and out. So red is out. No, red is in and black is out. Well, there is some stuff written on here, but I can't really tell you what anything means besides, well, patent number, I guess, made in USA. Well, alright. But there's not much to say about that. Look at this transformer right here. This is massive, it's beautiful. I have never seen anything like that, I'll tell you that. But this also tells me that there is really some wattage going on in here. And then there is this packet right here. I think this is where the power amplifier is. And so this right here is where the sound adjustment goes on. And the big thing, the amplification, happens in here, I guess. Obviously, just to be sure that I don't tell you anything wrong, let's take a look in. Oh well, that was a little disappointing. Well, alright. More screws. And there is this cable right here. Yeah, there is some heavy duty stuff going on in there. Look at that. Those are some giant capacitors. Wait a minute. Look at that. Yeah. So apparently I wasn't quite correct. This right here is actually part of the power supply, which does make sense considering most of these wires are coming directly from the transformer, but I couldn't see that before. So what you have right here are the fuses, obviously big rectifiers right here, multiple of them, and some big capacitors right here, because just consider you're working with heavy duty audio equipment. You don't want any hum in there, so you need some big electrolytic capacitors to filter everything out. So there really was no hum in my system even after 50 years, so they're probably still fine, or at least good enough. The only hum again came from this cable. So let's put everything back together again. Alright, enough messing around, let's get some work done. So the potentiometer is somewhere on here, and thankfully everything in here is wired with plugs. So I can just pull out the plugs. So apparently it is mounted to some kind of metal cage, and I have to remove the 4 screws holding the metal cage in place in order for me to remove the circuit board. So the potentiometers on the front were both held in place by one of these, and so I had to remove those, and now I'm actually able to get the circuit board out of here after removing all the different plugs. Now, with this job done, it's already time to put everything back together.
One hour later. 2 hours later. One eternity later. 6.5 hours later.
And I think it's time for one final test. And what a better way to test it than with my own music. Just like this, I got myself some hi-fi gear, way too big and powerful to show it off here. I don't know about you, but my personal hearing pleasure does not involve high volume usually. Of course, when I listen to a song that I really love and I want to listen to it, it gets loud, obviously. And same thing when I want to hear something to play it on guitar afterwards. I'm also using high volume to really hear everything. But when actually just listening and having music as a background noise, like it's usually the case, the volume I am listening to is actually pretty low. And 330 watts is enough to not only annoy your neighbors, it's enough to annoy half of your town. And obviously, this thing is not designed to use at home, no, this is for small concerts. When you want to amplify, say, an electronic keyboard for an audience of like 200 people for a show of a local band, for example, 330 watts it is, that's what you need. But not at home, obviously, and at home you're not going to use this big of a speaker, obviously. But what is neat to have home is this section right here. Having multiple channels and being able to adjust them in volume, gain and sounds like you want to is a pleasure. And if you're into hi-fi stuff like tapes and CDs and turntables and other things, this is what you want to get, because this can be really nice to have. But usually you're not going to use the amplifier section. Thankfully this has an output, so you could connect it to another amplifier, but still these things want to be connected to a big power amplifier, usually more than 330 watt, obviously, because this is what this power amplifier in here can supply. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed this little exploration video. Thank you for watching and have a good one. However, these aren't the plugs I'm familiar. Also on the back is this. Also on the back is also on the back is also on the back is this. Also on the back is this.